Hello there. It's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Johnny Test, Fred Flintstone, and one of my personal favorites, Leonardo. And you are listening to Epic Tales from the Sewer. It's totally awesome. Turtle power. Go, go, go.
Strap into the party wagon and hold on to your pizza. And welcome back to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. I am your most excellent host, Justin. Eric is on assignment this week, so he won't be joining us. But who will be joining us is an excellent guest who is all about the musical aspect of the Ninja Turtles. He is a musician himself and a grand collector of all things Ninja Turtles and Wolverine, and we'll get to that. He is also one cool kid, Mr. Benjamin Baldwin. How are you, sir?
Ready to rip, always.
Ready to rip. How about that? This is awesome. So I'm glad that we got a chance to get you on. We've been talking for a little while, and you have such an impressive collection of musical themed Ninja Turtles, whether it's vintage or even kind of beyond that. It seems like, but mostly vintage, right?
Yeah. I'm. The great thing about vintage is there's a finite amount of it.
Yeah.
But there's more and more stuff, especially like wacky stuff for the Coming Out of Their Shells tour that people send me links to, and then I am obligated to buy because I know it exists.
In preparation for this show, I did just watch the Coming Out of Their Shells tour on YouTube.
I'm sorry to hear that. It's pretty painful.
you can watch the entire thing there, or you can actually get it on Spotify, and you can listen to all the tracks on there from Spotify. So minus the crowd interactions, though. So I think you're really at a loss, so you don't get that. So.
You don't get to hear Shredder like low key try to hook up with some kid's mom.
Yeah, you want to come to my Technodrome? Yeah, it's so awkward. Yeah, but it's also also like it's such a time capsule of the time. So
it really is, man. It really is. And some of the stories behind that, like some of the especially the guys in the suits, like who went ahead in the cities and did the promotion. Like there's just all kinds of really cool stories about that. And for the record, I do like most of the songs.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah. Skipping Stones. Hell yeah,
it's like even that when it's like bad, but it hurts so good.
There was one, and I think it was No Treaties, and I'm like, this sounds like the reprise to Slow Ride by Foghat. I'm like,
oh, dude, totally. I totally hear that.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? This is not bad. And the majority of this stuff, I would imagine, is like, oh, this is what they were playing at the end credits of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, like that kind of music. It fits that era.
For sure, man, for sure. And I did used to listen to that tape growing up. But funny enough, even though I have this, massive Rocker Turtle focus, which with subsects of Rocker Turtle focuses. So one of these sub focuses within the Rocker Turtle focus is the Coming Out of Their Shells tour. And even though I have this embarrassingly large collection and detailed collection of this stuff, I never actually saw the tour live.
Okay.
I never saw it live. I did listen to the tape repeatedly. In fact, I would go in the bathroom I don't know why I would go in the bathroom, but I would go in the bathroom at my grandparents' house. And I remember having like the turtle van, which I always call the turtle van first and not party wagon for whatever reason. It's funny. I saw a poll in a group about that recently. Like, first reaction, what do you call it? And I'm like, definitely turtle van. Anyway, I remember having the turtle van and my movie star figures and Toko Razor and Super Shredder at my grandparents' house, and those are the figures that I took with me, to Virginia. I live in the Carolinas, so when we went for Christmas, those are the figures I had with me, and I had that cassette tape with me, and I would go in the bathroom and like pop it on and just rock out for whatever reason in the bathroom. I guess the acoustics were good in there or something.
Yeah,
so like I did like the songs and I had the tape, but I never actually saw them live, and then my wife did.
Oh, weird, cool.
Yeah, she's not even a huge turtle nut or anything, but she totally saw the tour live when she was a kid.
Were you like me, and with those movie star turtles, did you pull their arms and legs off and put them back because you could do that?
It's funny enough, I don't remember doing that for whatever reason, but they were one of my favorite waves of figures and still are. I just thought they were the freaking coolest, man. They were the coolest. So I would say that might be my second favorite wave
Oh
after
wow.
after the Rocker Turtles is probably the Movie Star Turtles. There's some one-off Mikeys here and there that I really like a lot, but like waves as a whole, I would say that's probably my second favorite or way up there.
So let me ask you this: what's your history with turtles? When did you get started collecting? When did you start? When did you fall in love with them?
My first introduction, I can never remember this because I was so young, but it was either seeing the commercials for the toys, um, or the cartoon, or both kind of simultaneously. So I'm a pretty normal 80s, 90s kid in that regard. I feel like that was a lot of people's um, introduction to Turtles was the
Oh yeah,
cartoon or toys. So I was born in 1983, so I lived through primetime Turtle time,
yeah.
when it was the thing that was going on. And it's awesome that it's still, popular and in the media and everything, but it's not like it was then.
It's funny because at times it feels so close. And I don't think we're
Right,
ever gonna get that same thing, but I mean it's like the era where the last Ronin's out and there's a brand new Ninja Turtles movie and there's the hottest video game is Ninja Turtles and there's action figures everywhere. Last year, like 20 between 2022 and 2023, it seemed huge.
yeah, no, I agree, man. I think this is probably the last like 2 or years or so is probably the closest we've gotten.
Yeah,
But also, like,
absolutely.
there's so much more noise these days. So I don't know if like anything could come along and be the thing. There's almost not a the thing these days.
It's weird because stuff seems to move cyclically and there's things that are exciting, for kids or whatever, and some kids gravitate towards one thing or another thing. I mean, like Minecraft is friggin' huge, right? So the
Right.
thing now, like Fortnite is huge. So what do?
Pokemon,
You cross
anime,
over, you know? Yeah,
I
yeah, all
think
all
all
that
those
stuff.
things I think all those things are probably bigger than turtles, but at the same time, no matter how big any one thing is, I don't feel like there's a one thing like there was
Yeah.
when turtles were first created and popularized. I could be wrong about that. Maybe it's just perception, and I'm
No,
old.
I
Who
I think when it comes to that, you're probably correct. I mean, like the only answer that I would have that comes the closest is probably Taylor Swift. So,
knows?
you know, like you can't stop the Swifties. So,
My buddy Mike Shapiro is gonna love you for that.
okay, all right. Well, shout out to Mike Shapiro and Taylor Swift. Maybe she'll write a song about Ninja Turtles. That would be amazing. So,
Are you a Swifty?
I am not, but I know lots of them. So, so and I just got
I
nothing
don't have
against
any
her. I
hate.
mean, hey,
I don't have any hate, and she's a pretty good storyteller. I don't like every song she does or whatnot, but
mhm,
especially I don't know if it was her first big hit, but the one where she's talking about being in high school and stuff, like
yeah,
that told a good story.
I
That's a
agree.
good song.
I agree. Just like skipping stones. It's
I think she tells a little bit better of a story than Skipping Stones, let's be
all right.
honest.
Well, I'll agree to disagree. But so you're an OG Turtle fan. So from back in the day, you're seeing the cartoons, probably some of the comics and the toys. Let's talk about your collection back in the day, and then let's kind of work that to where you are now with your collection. What did you start out with in terms of your collecting?
I am famous in my family slash with my mom for saying, I just want the four Turtle Brothers, Mom. We all know how that turned out,
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
it? I didn't have the most giant collection, though. I had a pretty decent collection. A lot of them, mainly were. I think the bulk of my collection, especially towards the end of it, were gifts from this family, from a church my dad used to pastor, and we got really close with them. So even when we moved away, even to another state, um, I would go back and visit them for like a week during the summer and stay with them, and they would buy me turtle toys and stuff. And so
oh, cool.
I think most of my turtle toys kind of came from them spoiling me. But my family did get me a decent amount. I never had a huge collection as a kid. I mean, I'm trying to think like I think, I had the main villains, the basic guys. I ended up getting the movie stars. as I was talking about before, the Super Shredder's my favorite villain action figure of all time.
He's a great one.
I remember losing him as a kid, and I actually prayed to God that I would find him. I was like, God, I know that you don't care about this and your super. And uh, it's just funny that I would pray about something like that as a kid, but I was totally serious. I was like, but I know that you care about me and you care about my feelings. I seriously remember this prayer to find my
Wow.
super
So
shredder
you were
figure.
serious about finding this. Did you find him?
I did. I did.
Awesome.
And he was on the windowsill of the church in the graveyard, which I used to play in this graveyard all the time
All
because
right then.
graveyards kind of come with churches. But and so does not being very wealthy. So that's why I didn't have a lot of turtle toys. Single income family.
Yeah.
My dad was a preacher. I was homeschooled until 7th grade, so that's one of the many reasons why I'm so flipping weird. But yeah, so I love that. I love that figure. I love the movie Star Wave. I remember having, I think like Brown Chuck and Dirtbag might have been as far as I went with like villains who weren't the standard villain. And I don't even think I ever saw them on the cartoon. I don't remember seeing them on the cartoon as a kid. I remember you mentioned my collection then versus now. Really funny too. I did not know about the Rocker Turtles as a kid. I
Wow.
found out about them when I was already done collecting and I had sold my turtle figures. Oh, which by the way, I did have all the movie 3 turtles. I remember I did go full bore. I had all the movie 3 turtles, and I'm a fan of the third movie. I know it's
Yeah, I think
blemishes. I know it's
I mean it's
blemishes.
better than the first Michael Bay movie, I feel like. Not better than the second one. I love that movie. But I honestly think the third Turtle movie is better than that first Bay movie.
Dude, I won't argue with anyone about the blemishes. I'll just say you're totally right. That's
Yeah.
totally true about that movie because it is. It does have those blemishes, but there's still plenty to love. The turtles are the turtles. The interaction with Casey and the dudes back in time. There's a lot of Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court moments when they're
Absolutely.
back in
Yep.
time. Michelangelo's story arc, wanting to stay, like I don't know, man. There's plenty to love about that movie. So I did have the movie 3 Turtles, but I sold all my turtles probably around high school for girls and poor decisions. I always say, and so I started from scratch, but not with scratch. I still don't have a scratch, and honestly,
Yeah.
he's not really on my list.
Just get the
Um,
Ultimates one. He's awesome. I have him. He's great.
the what?
The Ultimates. I'll show you. I got him close by.
Oh yeah. The Super 7 Ultimates. Nah, maybe I
He's like
like
$37 on
he's
Amazon right
cool.
now.
I like the concept. I do like the concept. It kind of bugs me when people in the community are like, "Oh, why is he this or that or whatever?" And I mean, it's the market is the market, so no use in complaining about that. But I do think he's a great concept for a figure. He's perfect.
Yeah.
Like a burglar cat who went to jail, like a cat burglar kind of. I always think of him who went to jail and whatever. And I love the concept of hotspot too. And I do have a
Oh,
hotspot.
definitely.
In fact, I have a prototype first shot hotspot complete with all first shot accessories. That's the only Rocker Turtle proto. That's the only vintage Ninja Turtles prototype that I have that's not Rocker Turtles. Actually, I had a few before, but I sold them to fund Rocker Turtle prototype purchases. So,
Nice, nice. So
but I'm hanging on to that one. I'm hanging
let's
on to that
talk about those
hotspot.
prototypes then. So because
Yeah,
I mean we have had Chris Fawcett from Rad Plastic on, and he is an avid collector of all of those things. And I mean, he made the book.
he's helped me out a lot. He's a good buddy of mine. I think I got close to the first copy of Rad Plastic.
Very cool.
So he's a buddy of mine. Dude, North Carolina, the Carolinas in general, but especially North Carolina, is a turtle mecca,
Yeah.
man. Chris Fawcett's in Charlotte. I live here in Wilmington with a bunch of my cool pals. Eric Hartley, he's another guy in the scene. And there's some other local cool kids here that
Yep.
I love as well.
Good old
Um,
cool kids.
Yes, and then to the Turtles, the 1990s film, that movie was largely filmed here in Wilmington, North Carolina. So there, I live like 10 minutes from a few of the downtown locations, and I live about 25 minutes from April's farmhouse.
That's awesome. And I know I think you've shared some pictures before of you at the event. I saw with Ethan, you were there, and like Judith Hogue.
Yeah, they got Judith to come one year. I mean, that's perfect. Although I did like the vibe better when it was just like a crowd hanging out there, and they had like a few tours, and you could hop on one of the tours to, tour the inside of the house, and he would tell you where things were filmed, outside and inside or whatever. Um, so yeah, that's a really cool event. I've been going there since before they restored the property though, and I'm glad they did. Man, all the trees that are around there, all the hurricanes we get here, I'm surprised the property is as intact as it is, honestly. And at one point there was a column on the porch that kind of looked like this,
Oh,
like
it's
it
gonna
could
like
go
hang
at
it
any
down.
time. So I'm very glad they refurbished the place, and for the most part they kept the outside of it, the exterior of it, pretty close to how it looks in the movie. The only thing they changed that I was unhappy about is the front of the little shed where Casey and Don were working on the truck. That was a very recognizable door frame, and they did change that. But I got to see it before they changed it, get some good pictures out there. So I was happy about that. But yeah, North Carolina, man, there's a lot of turtle fans here. There's actually a decent amount of turtle history here, especially with the first movie being largely filmed here. Even that stuff, April's second time around building and all the buildings surrounding it, all of those shots, those buildings were on a soundstage at Coralco Studio, which then turned into Screen Gems for many years and was recently sold. And I don't know the new name of it, but at the time it was called Coralco Studios. All that stuff was on a back lot. It looks like a city, but it was totally on a back lot. When Casey Jones and Raph, when Raph is chasing Casey Jones and you can see the fence for Central Park,
Mhm.
that's all in New York. I've seen all those film locations too. Very, very cool. Nothing is as spiritual as the farmhouse, though. Definitely the
Oh, I
coolest film
imagine. Yeah.
location. By far, the coolest film location is the farmhouse. But when you can see the fence for Central Park, that's in New York. As soon as they jump the fence, the rest of that whole scene was filmed in Greenfield Lake Park here in Wilmington. So a surprising amount of that movie was filmed here. April's news building is here downtown. The federal building is where she interviews Chief Stearns and where his office was and stuff. They unfortunately renovated that recently, but before they did, like 2-3 years ago, the inside was exactly accurate to the film. Even the little like the coil heaters on the side of the wall,
Oh, yeah.
the checkered floor. I mean, it was all the exact same. So I really hate that they refurbished that. They also refurbished the windows on the front of April's news building, which is now like apartments or something. And those were very recognizable windows. So I hate that they. And I tried to actually get some of those windows as they were doing the demolition for it. We used to work downtown, and I would go into the building and just like, yo, is anybody here? Like I tried to find somebody on site, and I could never connect with anybody on site to see if I could like actually get some of those window pieces. So that's
That would have been a
unfortunate.
cool keepsake too, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then you have Chris who's helping you find the rocker turtles and all that. What's that
Yeah, I
journey like?
squirreled. I squirreled very hard, didn't I? I do that. Thanks for keeping me on topic.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, so Chris helped me get into the prototype thing. When he started posting about them back when he uncovered the first, which he wasn't even looking for. Chris is a big Star Wars guy. In fact, his Star Wars prototype collection is even crazier than his turtle collection, especially regarding um, rarity and value and all that kind of stuff. It dwarfs his turtle prototype collection, which is crazy because he also has the craziest turtle prototype collection of anyone that I
Yep.
know. He kept some sweet pieces, man. He kept some real dimes. But as soon as he started posting about that stuff, I didn't know him at the time, but I was so interested in it because of the history, the artistry. I was so curious about like every aspect of it. It's something I had never thought about before,
Yeah. Just
And I'm a
how they're
behind the
made and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah. And I'm a behind the scenes guy. I always enjoy like watching, actors talk about voice acting and behind the scenes movies, shows, this, that. But I'd never really thought about behind the scenes with toys before until Chris and his pick and crew came on the scene. And those guys have really looked out for me. I have to give them a shout out. In the prototype community, there's a special respect for people's focuses and also reuniting pieces and like runs of a wave. Like people will help each other out. Like, this belongs in that guy's collection.
There
Like
you go. Yeah.
he's getting this run back together, of a specific figure and all the steps in the process of this figure or this wave. Like for me, the rock and rolling wave. So those guys have really, really looked out for me, and I just have to give them a big shout out and a thank you. You were asking about the prototype collection, so I'll take my first little trip here. So
Look at these. Okay.
I am not good at the backwards thing. Oh boy.
All right.
So
So
I
can see them.
I got the whole band back together in the hard copy stage. So that took several years, but I was able to piece the whole band together in the unpainted hard copy stage.
So, guys, what we're looking at right now is he's got a glass case here that has all 4 of the Playmates original hard copies from Varner Studios, the piece that they used to actually mold these original rocker turtles, and they're all in just single colored, like tan or like a brownish sort of plastic. And then it looks like Pork Chop from Doug.
Yeah, that is a unproduced quail dog.
Oh,
that is theorized to be. Let me do this. I am not the backwards thing at all. This is theorized to be an unproduced fast food toy.
oh, cool. Gotta love Doug.
His head's trying to fall off. Please don't do that. And this is the clay sculpt. This is the original clay sculpt. So that's the first thing that happens in the 3D process is the clay sculpt. Speaking of which, and I won't go into this level of detail with all of them, but I will about this Punker Don because it's cool. And you mentioned Varner Studios, and there's actually a little bit more to it regarding Punker Don. This
look at that head.
That's the first clay sculpt head
with a very different mohawk.
Very different mohawk. Let me see if I can get on top of that.
Yep,
it's very thin on top, totally different. Also, the earring, in quotes, since turtles don't have ears, is on the bandana in a totally different place as well. And if whenever you do post this podcast, wherever you post it, I'll try to actually just throw some pictures and comments of the stuff that I was talking about too.
Very nice.
So that's the first clay sculpt. I also have both arms. I'm not going to pick up the other one because it's got a chain on it that is very fragile.
That's awesome.
But I've got the head and arms of the original clay sculpt. The cool thing about this Punker Don, you may notice that he's a darker color of resin.
Yep.
And that's because Anaglyph actually did just Punker Don only from this wave. So Varner Studios did the rest, and Anaglyph did the Punker Don. The other thing that's cool about Punker Don that makes him different, other than the fact that Anaglyph did it and it's a darker resin they were using, is typically they take the lighting is I'm killing the lighting here.
You're right.
Typically they take the mold from the hard copy comes from the second wax sculpt. So I don't have any wax in my collection, but they do a clay sculpt, then they save that image, kind of like the reverse of that image, and then they cast it again in wax, and then they tighten up the details in wax. Then they take that image and they make the resin hard copy. So the resin hard copy has all the details that the produced figure will have most of the time. But what Anaglyph did, they actually took the casting of the original clay sculpt and made the hard copy from that. So this hard copy skips the wax step, and this hard copy still shows the same thin mohawk and everything from the clay sculpt. So that's a few just kind of cool things that make the Punker Don a little bit different. And then I've got the hand-painted Rapid Mike. It's hard to believe that's hand-painted, but it
wow.
It totally is. And
the
you can
color
see
looks amazing.
And if you compare it, I know it's again. I'll throw pictures and comments because I realize that this is kind of tough to capture on the video, and I'm failing miserably at the
We're
backwards thing.
telling a story, Ben. So it's all good.
But if you look at the production version that I have on top of the case there,
Mhm.
you can see a lot of the differences, like the clock and
Yeah, clock's different.
the clock and the turntables ended up being stickers on the produced figure, but they're actually completely 3D and hand painted on the hard copy. Even the dots on the clock, the numbers, the hands, everything is completely 3D on the hand painted hard copy. So, and there's other differences too, like the MTV illusion on the leg.
Yep.
That ended up turning into yo raps.
Yeah.
On the produced version, you get yo raps, but there's totally a MTV thing that actually says TMTV.
I love that.
But it totally
They
looks
play
like
more
MTV.
videos. Yeah.
Yes. So those are the prototypes there, and that's also with my original art. I've got the this is the style guide art from Steve Levine, and I actually got it straight from him at Shellback Studios. So that's the style guide art for Classic Rocker Leo. And then I ended up getting the style guide art for Punker Don from Steve as well.
Wow.
And that was actually the first. The Punker Don is the first and only piece that has been offered to me outright and not like put on the market. And that was just a really special moment for me as a collector. I don't expect that or whatever in the future, but that is a really, really special piece to me because I've never been offered like, hey, this is the guy, you know what I mean, from an actual artist. And that was just
Steve's the greatest, and D is the greatest too.
they are so sweet and
they're the
awesome. D is so sweet. I actually had a chance to help get them booked for ICC-Con in Nashville, Tennessee. My wife and I put on the cosplay contest for that. And we'll be there again this year, October, first weekend in October, ICC-Con, Nashville, Tennessee. But the Imperial Commissary, Mike Havens created the Imperial Commissary Vintage Star Wars collecting group. And that was actually the group that introduced me to the fact that there was an online collecting community. Before that, I'd always just collected on my own. Me and my dad hunted vintage and modern Star Wars in the 90s. Even when I stopped playing with toys, to go back to one of your first questions, as far as what my collection looked like back in the day, even when I stopped playing with toys, I would still collect them and set them up in scenes, on my shelves. And I collected until I went to college. The only reason I stopped collecting is because I was in college. I didn't have anywhere to put stuff. So I stopped collecting for about 13 years of college and post-college party band roommate having years. But as soon as my wife and I bought our home 11 years ago, I got my stuff from my parents' house, put it up, and started collecting again immediately. Like no time had passed. I was like, I'm going to finish my vintage Star Wars collection. So we started going to Comic-Cons. One of the vendors told me about the Imperial Commissary Facebook group. And that's eventually what led me to Turtle World and finding my people who get me because they're, Nickelodeon 90s kids, turtle people.
Oh man,
It's a
dude,
different vibe.
you just hit right onto something. I literally just last week we did a whole podcast on another show I'm on called Retro with Octopus about 90s Nickelodeon theme songs.
Dude, Doug.
Oh yeah.
Is
No,
one of
Doug
my
was one of them.
favorite shows of all time, man. What a theme song too. And
I'll
that
send
show,
you the link. There's a live version of that's amazing. Maybe you've seen it. I don't know.
no, I haven't. No, that'd be
I'll send
great.
you the link.
Yeah, man, I love that show. And also that music, that show had some other cool music in it too. Like the banging on a trash can video. That
Oh, yeah?
inspired me to that helped inspire me. I mean, I was always playing music. I started piano lessons when I was 6 years old. My parents had to try to get me out of the house and have hobbies since I was homeschooled and
Yeah.
preacher's kid and all this. So I had some hobbies. They would take me to the YMCA and I played some county ball and rec ball and some sports here and there before music took over my life. But yeah, man, that banging on a trash can helped inspire me to really want to write music and play music and continue.
So it helped you think big?
Big, big. Yeah, I did.
That's a Doug joke for anyone who's too young to
Yeah,
have seen Doug. But
yeah, totally. So I've still got my Star Wars stuff here.
oh wow, look at this.
So that's the I probably won't be able to get it all in one shot. Here, also, here's my just
There's a
kind of the.
Y-wing up top, a original TIE fighter.
Yep, I've got it all. I don't really do variants or whatever, but yeah, I got all my Imperials here and some
TIE bomber, yeah.
customs. That the TIE bomber is a custom because they did not make a vintage TIE bomber, but that's made from all vintage parts. A guy named Michael Steinmacher made that custom. Got my Cloud City, Bespin stuff, Jabba's Palace, Return of the Jedi stuff. Kind of wraps around here. This is actually a piece of the script that was used on set for A New Hope, the first
Oh
Star Wars
wow,
movie, and it's actually it's
that's a great collect.
yeah, I got it in Saint Martin, a half French, half Dutch island in the middle of nowhere. I happened to be on a company vacation that I did not book. I happened to go on the shopping excursion to the other side of the island, which was a different country, and we found the Star Wars Museum with Nick Maley, aka that Yoda guy, because he created the Yoda puppet that was used in Empire Strikes Back. They even got him to refurbish it when it was used in The Last Jedi. Or
No
I think
kidding.
it was The Last Jedi that was used in. Yeah. So we just happened upon this. He had the original Hellraiser pinhead that he created. He's got all these casts of movie stars' faces that he's worked with over the years. Him and crew photos of like Superman movies and all this stuff from the 70s and 80s. And I couldn't believe that we literally just fell in it. Like, oh, oops, here's this that Yoda guy museum halfway across the world, and I almost didn't buy the script page. It's also the page that talks about making the Kessel Run in 12
Oh
parsecs.
yeah,
It's a really great piece.
yeah, no kidding.
I think I paid like maybe 300 or 400 for it. I almost didn't get it. This was kind of in the earlier days of my collecting, and my wife was like, "Well, have you ever had a chance to purchase a piece of the script used on the set of a Star Wars movie?" And I was like, "No." She was like, "Well, maybe you should get it then." I
Can't
was like,
argue with the lady. Can't argue. That's pretty cool.
No, it was solid logic. So I'm glad she talked me into that one. It was really funny too because this thing it's mounted on is huge. It's like half the size of my body, and I had to fly back home with it. I was just
Oh,
like carrying it like everywhere with me on a plane and everything to get it back home. But so here's the rest of the Star Wars
it's
collection.
impressive.
There, I've got my Hoth scene and indoor.
Oh, there's the whole tree house. Look at that.
Oh yeah, got some fun surprises mixed in with the indoor.
Is Robin Hood there? Oh,
Oh
Rufio. Nice.
yeah. It's I don't think I have Robin Hood. It's actually a Waterworld. I'm a Waterworld fan too.
Another
I
reason
don't.
you and I get along. It's a great film.
It is a great. I don't understand any hatred for that
It,
film.
it just costs too much money, so that's why they panned it. So
It's peak Kevin Costner for me too. Which like as the 80s 90s kid, I mean, how can you not be a Kevin Costner fan? Like,
yeah, man, I love Silverado, and I know this is not Turtles Talk, so we'll get back to Turtles Talk. I'm sorry, listeners, but I'm excited
yeah,
because he said Kevin Costner. I'm a fan
yeah.
of The Postman too, and I'll just put that out there. So
Me too.
yeah,
Me too. It's the same era, peak Kevin Costner.
well, that's good. So we're talking about Star Wars. We're talking about Ninja Turtles. Have you had a chance to purchase any of those customs that have been circulating online of the? I don't know if it's Nick's or if it's the Foot Toys or whatever who's putting them out. The custom line that they did, like the Chewbacca, Mikey, and all those.
I didn't, but it is only because, and this is why I pass on a lot of stuff. I was out of space before
Oh
I
yeah,
bought my first turtle, and now I have some turtles.
yeah. You got some. Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Ah,
5.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
There's the old
That's a lot.
Marine focus there too. I guess we can shift into that in a moment if you'd like, since I'm already out here.
Yep.
But this
What
shelf,
space is this? Is this like a garage? Is this like a cabana? What is this?
it's a converted garage, so it's a
Okay.
really odd kind of L shape. You can see behind me. There's like a nook, an office nook here.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's like a studio.
Somewhat, yeah. But they put this extra. They closed it off, so you can see there's like a corner here.
Yep.
It's because they walled in this space, which became my rock room.
Perfect.
So it's like an extra room that they walled off. So it's an odd space for sure. So it kind of wraps around like a big L, and then the rock room is just a square inside of here.
This is a really impressive collection. Like, not even like if it was just this room of the Rocker Turtles and all of that, that would be something. Then to
Thanks,
go
man.
outside and see all of the stuff that you have for the original vintage Kenner line, it looks like, from the Star Wars and all that. You've got the
Yeah.
stand-up Turtles in Time game. Like this is impressive.
Thanks, man. Well, there's the as far as to go into a little bit more. There's my Mikey shelf. That is every vintage Michelangelo made from mini to giant. It's my
Oh, wow.
variant shelf. I've got a lot of the variants. I don't know if I have them all, but I've got a good number of Mikey variants.
My
And then
first
just
Michelangelo had 2 left legs.
really
Yeah, I still have them.
out of the package.
Out of the package, got them in geez, what was it, 1987, 88, Christmas time, something, and he had 2 left legs.
Wow, that's funny. Yeah, I love me some OG, of course. As I mentioned before, I love the movie Star Wave. I love the Rocker Turtle Wave. But there are some random Michelangelos that I really, really like a lot. I've always liked this sewer spitting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kind of on vacation, Mikey. I also like to take action figures with me when I travel and get an appropriately themed action figure. It's great when you pick out just the right one, to go with you on vacation or a trip or something. I also really like this one, and a lot of these guys I never knew about as a kid. Like I really was pretty basic, but I love this.
Oh, you got the Safari Mikey. That's a beautiful figure too. One of the later ones in the series.
Yeah. So there are a few that
I know he came with the adventure coin or something.
I don't know. You know what? I don't actually think I have the coin for it. That's a good point. Darn
Yeah,
you.
well, darn me. One of my favorite all-time Michelangelos is the sewer surfing Michelangelo. I actually commissioned a Facebook banner with what my 2 favorite from the line, which is the Sewer Samurai Leo and the Michelangelo sewer surfing. So that's for Epic Shelf. Yep, that is Casey Jones artwork, and that is always going to be our banner.
That's awesome, man. We mentioned Casey Jones earlier. Maybe that was when we were just in pre talks before the recording. But yeah, I love that guy. I love his.
You got a shirt on.
Yep.
Here we go. It says "Punk's not dead" with Punker Donnie.
Even though I'm more of a metal guy than a punk guy, I just love Punker Don so much. If I had to pick a favorite figure in the whole vintage wave, I suck at things like that. But if I had to pick a favorite figure, it'd probably be Punker Don, man. That is a cool.
Don's great. I never had him growing up, and my best friend had him, so I would always play with him when I went over to my best friend's house. So
it's so funny, and I think I touched on this before too, but like I didn't know about the rock and rollin' wave even.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't finish that story because I have a tendency to squirrel very hard. But I found out about him in high school after I'd already sold all my turtles. A buddy of mine, like I was still a turtle fan, even though I wasn't actively collecting or whatever. And a guitar player in stage band knew I was a turtle fan, and he was like, "Hey, I got a figure, left over, from my childhood or whatever." And he brought me a Punker Don, and I hung that on the dice of my rearview mirror in my Camaro. All very stereotypical. I think I'm cool guy stuff from the 90s. Dice in the mirror. Oh boy. But yeah, I hung that figure up. And then I think he later got me a classic rocker Leo too that they found. And both of those figures hung on the dice in my Camaro when I was not collecting. So may the Rocker Turtles be with you.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's really awesome. And it's cool that you got back into it because it was something that you were gone from, but it found a way to worm its way back in.
It
that's
totally did,
exciting.
man. It totally did. And Star Wars was my vintage Star Wars was my gateway toy line to getting back into collecting, because I was like, I've got probably over half of these, and so that's what made me get back into it, was my Star Wars. And of course, in the toy community, no matter what focus the page is that you're on, you're going to meet people who collect other things. And so I don't remember exactly how it happened, but about 3 years into collecting vintage Star Wars, like hardcore, and like buying stuff on the Imperial Commissary, like hardcore. I was running, drumming for, booking, and running a very busy party band that was pretty profitable. I spent every cent, just about, that I made from that band, which is a lot. I mean, not a lot, but like for a middle class person, like that was some good extra cream
Dude,
money
I'm
coming
seeing
in. You know
all
what I
these
mean?
prototypes, so yeah, it was a lot.
I spent every flipping penny almost
Wow.
that I made in that party band for 11 years on toys.
Wow.
And so then when that party band ended in November of 2019, shortly before the world ended, a few months later, great time to end a band, actually.
Yeah,
Not
really.
not a great time to sell band gear, but great time to end a band, because the world shut down in March, that following March, because of COVID and everything.
Yeah.
So um, when that ended, that also kind of ended my source of collecting money. So I had to switch to selling a lot of my collection, even vintage turtles that I really liked a lot, but they weren't Mikey.
Hmm.
I sold most of my other turtles from those waves, like the Shogun wave, some of the waves, the Mutaphor, some of this stuff. And I only kept my Mikey example, because I'm not breaking up my Mikey collection. That's not happening. That's one of my focuses. Along with Ace, Duck, and Walkabout, I have a sub focus of.
Yeah, I love that you have Walkabout, because Walkabout was an absolute standout character for me growing up. So when you were talking about like taking people with you and all that, I'm like, yeah, obviously Walkabout would go with you. Like that's the figure you take when you go on vacation. So
Dude, a friend group of mine actually has a walkabout thing. I sent a walkabout around the world, and he's been traveling for almost 6 years now. And people
wow.
take pictures with him. He's been to Istanbul, Turkey, Paris, France,
Not
Germany,
Constantinople, Istanbul.
Istanbul, Constantinople. I got that reference. I see you. Uh,
Yep.
So yeah, he's been all around the world, and I figured, what better figure to like send around, to this friend
There's
group, other than
there's
than
no other
Walkabout.
answer. What are you gonna pick?
That's,
Maybe April O'Neil, but who cares? It's Walkabout, dude. Yeah.
that's actually a good point. April, she could be reporting from these locations. That's valid. That's valid.
Well, that's the only one that I can think of. But it'd be funny if it was someone like random, like Irma, or like oh, it's me, Vern. It's like
Right? Oh, dude, I make fun of Vern's voice too. What a oh oh
April. And yeah, he's such an interesting character.
what a loser.
Yeah,
I
I
know we
wonder
try
if
to keep
there's
it
a
positive.
focus. Do you think
I know
there's
we try
someone
to
who
keep it positive.
focuses on those? Like they focus on just Vern Thompson or Vern.
Actually, a buddy of mine, kind of adjacent, somewhat adjacent to that. Yeah, a buddy of mine, Derek, had a burn focus.
Oh, nice. Ooh, turtles. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a good one
interesting.
too. So there's at least two figures for that. That Toon Wave from the original Playmates, and then NECA. So then I guess you have to get all original art.
Yeah, the Toon Wave. It's so funny. Like, even though they look goofy, that's one of the waves I remember as a kid. I didn't have any from.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
Yeah.
and it as a collector, it scratches a different itch to buy a toy back that you had. That's a specific itch, like, oh, I missed you, welcome back, little guy, but then
Exactly.
when you buy one that you never had as a kid, that scratches a different itch. And then there's a third itch. You buy one you never knew about, and is just freaking cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Like
like
I've
three
seen some of
special
these.
itches. Yeah. So I enjoy scratching all of those itches.
I didn't know about some of these ones, like the Cyber Samurais. I had no clue. I'm like, wow, because I was already out of it at that point, and
Yeah.
I'd gone to collecting X-Men and things like that, and throwing my money down that toilet. and you're collecting like McFarlane and Batman the Animated Series and stuff. Like there's so much out there, and you dip
There
your
is,
toe into
dude.
GI Joe and Transformers, and so there's like all kinds of collecting things. So Turtles was kind of like, all right, I'm kind of out of this for right now. So I didn't even know those things existed.
For whatever reason, I think it's actually because I regretted selling my turtles so much that I never sold another toy from my childhood again. So I've
Cool.
actually got all my vintage. I've got my childhood collection of Micro Machines, Lego, all my Batman stuff, which ranges from mostly Keaton era to some animated series. My animated series collection is beefed up more now, but I still had everything from my childhood. I've
I
got the
only have
Batman.
the combat belt Batman's the only one I have in box.
Okay. I've still got my they did a bunch of different versions of Wayne Manor Batcave, one of the coolest playsets of all time. I mean,
Oh,
for sure.
definitely. Yeah. Where you like
And
turn
I've
it
got the
around and
Batman.
it's the bat suit. Yeah.
Yeah, totally cool. I've got the Batman Returns version of that.
Oh, nice.
I've still got all my X-Men, which of course now I have a much larger Wolverine collection. In fact, I have probably almost twice what I have in X-Men in Wolverine only now. But I do have all my childhood X-Men still. So yeah, I regretted, man, that was a hard lesson to learn. But I regretted it so much. I was like, I'm never selling another one of my childhood toys again. That's it.
Let's explore that for a second because we've talked about Wolverine and all that. I literally met you because you did a cosplay contest in Epic Shells, and you dressed up as Logan and you won a prize. And then we started becoming friends. Literally how we met and all that. Wolverine is a huge focus of mine in just terms of like comics and things like that. You've
Yeah.
taken to another level completely. Why don't you tell us about your Wolverine collection as well?
Yeah, for sure. It's mainly, I'm gonna step over there. And again, I know this is mainly an audio podcast, so I'll drop an annoying amount of pictures in comments whenever you post. But there's my Wolverine focus behind
Oh,
me
look
there.
at that. Holy
It's
crap.
it's mainly 90s Toy Biz.
Wow. There's a lot. There's Savage Land, Robot Fighter, what is that? The flying Marvel. Do you
It's
have the
one of
talking one?
my corn on the
Pez.
claws down. Corn on the claws down. This phone here is one of my favorite pieces. I've even got the
Yeah,
box for it. And
beautiful.
then a phone card.
Oh,
Prepaid.
wow.
Call me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love the Jeep as well.
The Jeep is cool. Yeah.
And it came with a special, you probably can't see on the video. It's even hard to capture in pictures, but it came with this exclusive figure that's kind of like has a sparkly kind of sheen to
Yep.
it on the paint. So yeah, there's most of my yellow stuff, or the yellow, blue, and yellow. Then I got that
You have
costume
the same PVC figure that I had right in front there, and I've
from
never seen
Spain.
anybody else have that.
It's from Spain. That's cool that
Yeah.
you have it.
Yep. I've never seen anybody else with that same PVC figure where he's like punching. Yeah. Oh,
And
Homer Simpson is Wolverine?
a buddy of mine, Luis Salazar, got this for me. It's a Mexican bootleg.
Oh, that's awesome. That looks really cool, actually.
Yep. This I don't have a lot of Toy Biz prototypes, but I do have. Gosh, cannot do this. Gosh,
It's fine.
I do have this little first shot of the Metal Mutants.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I remember they were in I think 2 packs or something, and then one of them came if you
Yeah,
got like Wolverine and Maverick, it would have like Silver Samurai or Sabretooth, something like
yep,
that.
totally.
This is
I
deep in
don't.
the weeds of toys, listeners.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I've got these first shots as well. So that's for anybody who's not into protos. That's when they test the production mold to make sure it's going to work and the figures are going to assemble properly and everything looks good with the sculpt. So that's why they're non-production colors, because they use whatever plastic they have on hand or that's in the machine. It's literally just to test the mold of the figure and the construct, make sure it's all good before they start pumping the figures out.
How does
They
somebody get something like that to sell you? Is it just someone who works at the factory takes it?
someone that works at the factory or an artist like Varner Studios still has all their stuff. Chris Fawcett got a bunch of stuff from them, but Chris also during the time of that discovering the turtles and uncovering all those prototypes and everything, he followed the chain. So he would ask everybody he talked to, like, do you know anybody else that worked on the line? So he talked to people that were in PR, artists. He talked to everybody who had anything to do with the toy line. I think he talked to over 200 people, either on the phone, and a lot of them he flew out to meet in person. So
Awesome.
a lot of people don't realize how much time and money really went into that.
The story he told about finding an unsealed box or a sealed box, right? Like of that last line, like of scratch and all that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like that's absurd.
Crazy. It's crazy. So one of the differences between Playmates prototypes versus Toy Biz prototypes is that the hard copies, the resin hard copies, are like twice the size or more.
Oh yeah.
And they're called 2-ups or paint masters. It's easier to paint the details on those. So they'll actually paint those at that size. And that's the Savage Land Wolverine, the production figure there. But that's what it's to. So that's just kind of a cool difference in the in the pre-production process for Playmates versus Toy Biz. The lingo is a little bit different, the size is a little bit different, everything. So I don't do a ton of comics, but I did find this Hulk 180.
Beautiful.
And it's signed by Herb Trimpe or Trimpe. I don't know how to say his name correctly. Do you?
Who wrote the issue, right? Or did
yeah, he penciled everything.
Oh, he penciled. Okay, yeah, because Len Wein did the writing.
Right. So I actually found this locally. It's not in great condition, but because I'm not like a super comic collector or looking to resell or anything, it was just a really cool find to find here locally, especially signed by Herb himself. So that's one of the. I do have a few key issues. I don't have my Venom collection out, but I actually do have a focus on symbiotes, Black Suit Spider-Man, and Venom.
Oh wow!
So I don't have all of that out, but I do
have the talking Venom where he says, "I want to eat your brain."
I have a working first shot prototype of talking Venom.
Holy crap!
I was literally reaching for as you said that. Can you believe that?
That's beautiful.
Crazy. So here we go.
Oof! Wow.
It's got some writing on there, non-production colors on the head.
That's crazy.
And then there's the boxed version of it down there. I had to get the production example of it. I also low-key Army build Sentinels, so there's those.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of mutants, like between everything, and that's exciting.
Yeah, man. I just absolutely love collecting. And you'd asked me about the Star Wars customs. They're cool. They're really cool. And I know that Matt George is the one who actually commissioned, I believe, Scott Hinsey, who was an original sculptor that Playmates contracted for the vintage line. It was actually Matt George from Chris Fawcett's Picking Crew,
cool.
who commissioned Scott Hinsey to do that. And he was nice enough to lend that to L Dibs to mass produce as well.
That's who it is, L Dibs. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then L Dibs took it even further than that and like created new stuff on top of it. Actually, the Krang ATST Walker, that was Matt George's idea.
That's a great idea. It's beautiful.
It's freaking perfect. It's spot on, man. But I do collect customs. So, these are my custom shelves.
Okay.
Most of these are from
a Silver Samurai.
Yeah, I actually Anthony Hernandez did some crossover art that was X-Men Turtles.
Oh, all right, cool.
He actually did Usagi as Silver Samurai, but I thought Chrome Dome was a natural fit, so I kind of pivoted and changed on that one. But
Bishop is Walkabout.
Yep, that was a trade I did with a customs swap that I did with Ray Flanagan. And I made a few suggestions because he was looking for ideas, and I made him a Ray Fillet custom. The Raf Vereen is by Luis Salazar, and that is based on the art of Anthony Hernandez. The Beast Dawn, I did that one, also based on Anthony's art. And the Rockernaut, or Juggernaut Rocksteady, I did that one as well, also based on Anthony's art. And then the Blob Tattoo, which was genius. That's Sean Hunter. He did that one, and that's not based on Anthony's art. Neither is the Walkabout. But
these are really cool.
So that's, yeah, I do love customs. I'm a customizer myself. Some of these were gifts, some of them I made, some of them were purchased. And then these I call, unfortunately, I can't rename them, and it just works so well. But these are my turtle dicks because when I was doing my Octopus Ink, I had never seen anybody do a screen accurate Octopus Ink Casey Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I figured out that the vintage Playmates Turtles line mashed up really well with the vintage Dick Tracy line.
Yeah,
that was also by Playmates, same size, scale, era, company. I mean, they're an actual fit.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, while we're mentioning Dick Tracy, there's my Dick Tracy collection.
Beautiful. Oh, you've got the blank there?
Oh yeah.
So
actually, some cool pals of mine helped me get that from Canada. I literally had to send like a wire transfer to someone to purchase it from a toy store who posted it, but didn't want to ship. So fortunately, I had a cool friend in Canada, literally wired him money. Then a buddy of mine, Ian McNess, Officer McNasty, police officer in Buffalo, New York, actually. He's a good buddy of mine as well. He hopped the border to Canada, so to save me the risk and expense of international shipping, he hopped the border and grabbed it and then shipped it to me domestic. So
that's great to have this network, your own Octopus Ink.
Yes, dude, yes. And it was all turtle people.
Yeah.
Helping me store, the blank or whatnot. So these are actually some cool customs up top too. I don't have a lot of custom Tracy's, but this blank Mikey is by Jason Chaney. I believe this is by Israel Servin. I don't remember who did this. In fact, I don't think the person who gave it to me even remembered who did it. It just ended up as an extra or something. But my buddy Curtis Lee, a local friend of mine, Curtis Lee Rains, did the yellow coat custom. Big missed opportunity there. I cannot believe we didn't get like a yellow coat. Soft goods.
Yeah.
Man. I'm
wondering if we'll get a Mezco at some point, since the new comic is coming out. So, well, it's out. I think it's already on like issue 5 or something. But
okay, very cool. I didn't even know about that.
Right down the street from me in Naperville, Illinois, on the Riverwalk, there is a large bronze Dick Tracy statue, and it is life size. Yeah, it's probably about 6.5, 7 feet, something. Right in the Riverwalk. Pretty cool.
That is awesome, man. So I guess that kind of concludes the tour, the collection as far as the thing is, man. I could just go on and on. We could probably have like a podcast just about Wolverine, or just about Dick Tracy, or just about customs.
I think it's great that you have such an affinity for Dick Tracy too, because it's like it's a movie that it happened, and it's like so the people that loved it remember it happened, like Waterworld, but then it's like everybody moved on. Same with Rocketeer. It's like people like, hey, I love that.
Rocketeer, dude. Yeah. We are soulmates. Will you marry me? I'm already married. But next time.
that's what it's about when you're having a good conversation with cool people, and that's really what this show is about. And I mean, all the stories that you've been talking about with this is the interesting thing to all the listeners. So,
for sure. And what? Okay, I've got to go on. I thought I had landed, but since you mentioned Rocketeer, it's the only thing on my Turtle Dick shelf. Which, by the way, after I made Casey, then I made the Turtles. Yep. Then people would send me fodder bombs of broken figures, and some of them were really good broken figures, like Half Court and Murdude. So I ended up having the chance to make myself some really cool customs of that. But people would send me fodder bombs because they knew I do free surprise customs as random acts of kindness. I stopped counting after about 300.
That's awesome.
Just shipping to friends here and there, sometimes strangers too, or relative strangers. But then other people started making me turtle dicks too, because they saw what was going on. So I can't name them all, but Jim Mangum did this one. Dan Barnes did the scratch, and of course it's a printed or molded head. He didn't destroy a scratch. Ray Fillet, Dan Barnes did this awesome Ray. Billy Schellenberger did the cool Dr. L, and that's cool because he made it from Influence, the evil doctor from the Dick Tracy line.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dr. L with that. It was really cool. So I can't name them all right now.
Yeah, there's your Mikey. Look at him right in the middle there.
But this is why I came back over here. Was the Mikey Rocket Turtle?
That's awesome.
Matt Ruber made that for me, and he made it. He was coming to visit me to stay for the April's Farmhouse event. I normally offer to put people up in my home and host them, share the collection, play turtles, make their trip a little bit more affordable. I'll take them to the film locations here in Wilmington and just kind of be their tour guide and, just to help out as much as possible. But Matt Ruber, who's from Texas, flew into Wilmington, North Carolina for that event. And he surprised me with this Rocketeer Turtle custom, because Matt actually sold me his Rocketeer helmet. I'm slowly building towards a Rocketeer cosplay, and I've got the jacket, the gloves, the pistol, the helmet that I got from Matt Ruber. So that's why it was a meaningful custom, because he gave up on ever finishing his cosplay, and he sold the helmet to me for like a really, really good price. The last thing I think I really need is the actual rocket, and that's be expensive, or very time consuming, or both. So anyway, he brought me this. It's a soft head Mikey, and this helmet is dremeled out.
Oh, wow.
It's a soft head Mikey. You can actually put the helmet on him. You can squish his head and put the helmet on him. Really cool.
That is beautiful. Like it just, for everyone who can't see it, like he's got the brown jacket with like the button flaps on it, the tan pants, and like you said, it's a soft head Mikey. So that's really cool.
I also love this one. Didn't get a lot of love online, and I was kind of surprised. But one of my favorite ones I've done is this Sergeant Bananas.
Yeah, he looks cool too.
And I actually did the Sergeant Bananas color highlights, his green and yellow colors on the hat and the tie and the belt. Anyway, I was really happy with the way that one came out. It also reminds me of the monkey who answers the door in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, I love it.
Joe sent me.
This is awesome. I mean, there's so many more things that I want to ask you about. I'll pick and choose here. Let's talk about cosplay, because it seems like cosplay is a focus of you and focus of your wife and all that. Have you ever done any Turtles cosplay, like Walkabout or Ace Duck or anything like that?
No, I've never done any Turtles cosplay. And also, to be fair, this may sound bad because like I put on the cosplay contest for ICCCon, my wife and I do. This may sound bad, but like I would not score high in a cosplay contest because I don't make everything myself. But I do understand like what's important, and we do understand craftsmanship and things like that. That's more of my wife. She between Renaissance festivals and photo shoots that she does with her friends, they make their own costumes in detail. She once sewed like hundreds of pearls on these long sleeves that she had for a Renfest costume. So that's more on her side as far as the craftsmanship. I do understand it. I just don't have time for it.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I don't know much about like the contests and things like that. I see cosplay as sort of like a personal expression, like Halloween. Like if I see a Ninja Turtles costume and it like objectively looks terrible because it's like just some inflatable Leo and all that, and I'm so excited, or I want to be Garfield and it's another thing. It's like, yeah, I didn't make it, but it's still exciting to portray that character.
Yeah, for sure. So
I did Mondo Gecko one year. I had a blue from Jurassic World. I had that mask on with backwards hat and the Mondo shirt from NECA. So it was stupid, but it was fun.
That's cool. I want to see a picture of that now.
Yeah.
maybe I won't be the only one posting pictures and comments.
Yeah. See this jerk in his Mondo outfit.
Yeah. So
doesn't even have a skateboard.
My main cosplay that I do is Wolverine. It's easy. It's kind of a mashup between the Fox Universe Wolverine and Old Man Logan. So it's like right in between there somewhere. I've got the Fox Universe jacket. Of course, I've got the claws, a cowboy hat, so a cigar. It's very obvious what I am, but it's not a crazy cosplay. The best cosplay I'll have when it's finished is going to be the Rocketeer for sure.
That's great.
But I'm not quite there yet. This is not really cosplay, but it comes to mind. I have got one of the stage used vests of Michelangelo from the Coming Out of Their Shells tour.
Nice.
Got Leo suited up there with it. And his awesome tour hat. I love this freaking
hat. That's really good shape too for a tour hat from 1992. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually wore this last night to play drums for Godspell the musical. It's a rock and roll show.
Yep.
70s. The outfit fit in. I can't believe I wasn't brave enough or had time to think it through enough to do it for the first run of the show last weekend. But this weekend I'll be rocking that vest at Godspell. And I also won a local air guitar competition as Mike Air Angelo was my stage name. And I won that wearing this vest and some of the pads, the vintage vintage pads here.
Nice. Yep. Oh, from the dress up set.
Yeah, from the dress up set and a few other little, orange rags here and there or whatever. But yeah, I totally repped my Ninja Turtle love in the air guitar contest. And that was very meta. The air guitar contest was actually to raise money for a local theater production about air guitar competitors.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and the theater production is not about that. It's not about what I'm about to say, but air guitar competitions are real. And it was invented in Ulau, Finland. And they actually have the international finals for this real air guitar contest in Ulau, Finland. And I just did a bunch of research on it. It's a real thing. It started out as some college kid's thesis. If everybody's holding air guitars, then they can't hold guns to make war. I know it's super silly. I know it's crazy silly. But it's a lot of fun. And I also kind of conquered a fear of mine. I don't really like attention being called to me in public unless I have a drum kit in front of me. Okay. I feel a lot more comfortable in that scenario. So to go out just me and my body only and make a fool of myself on stage and actually try to do a good job. Like I prepared a whole bit. A Megadeth song, of course. You have to prepare like a 50-second clip and they play it on stage for you. And I prepared one of the solos from Holy Wars is the song that I did. But that was a lot of fun and totally rep Turtles. ABT, always be turtling.
Yeah, I like that. That's man, you're an interesting guy. Like the stuff that we talk about and all that. And I know that there's some other things that we probably won't even get to, but you have the original piece of artwork of that Metallica Raphael, right? From Ryan Brown.
Yeah. Yep. That's up here with the protos. And that's a cool one because let me see if I can get it out of the light. Yep. That's a cool one because it's actually a painting.
Yeah.
That's the only painting I have in my collection. But yeah, that's the original painting from Ryan Brown. And then of course I've got the portfolio it came in. I think that's the black and white one.
That's what I have. I have that one and that's why I knew it so well. I was like, hell yeah. And
Very cool.
You helped me solve a mystery, I think, because I had asked in the Treasure Monster Toys group. I think that's where you had posted it, and they had Dan Berger in it, who kind of answered the question, like because Metallica on their album Master of Puppets, they thank in the liner notes the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So was that in response to this? And it sounds like it was from what Dan Berger was saying.
Yeah, and that's so funny because I assumed it was the opposite.
Yeah.
I don't know why my brain did that, but really funny. Really funny. That's a cool piece of trivia for sure.
Yeah, I did that when we first started Epic Shells and all that. I put that in a trivia thing, and then I sent somebody a prize if they guessed it. It took people all day to figure out that one. I'm like, like what album did this? I'm like, I guess it's not well known, but you know.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you about some musical stuff because you
Yeah.
have one key piece in your collection that is pretty spectacular. And I'll let you tell people about that and tell the story on it.
Yeah. And it's great too because you are part of that story.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
almost certain that this piece I'm going to show here. I think it found its way to me, or the sale, the auction of it found its way to me because you posted the link in Epic Shells.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Were you also the other person bidding against me?
No, that wasn't me. I don't have that kind of juice. So
Okay, I thought. Oh man, I can't remember who that was. But so yeah, you posted this link in Epic Shells. I don't know how you found it, man. It was a Cystic Fibrosis Foundation fundraiser. So very random. I don't know how in the world you found that, but you posted it, and then one of my cool friends sent me the link for it. And I was already a member of your group too, so like I went right to the group, saw it. What's crazy too is I was actually rocking out at a gig playing drums that helped me afford this piece because, as I mentioned, my drumming is often what pays for my collection, or I have to sell something from my collection, which I don't like. I would
no,
much rather
nobody likes that.
drum up some money, literally. So, this piece was in the collection of Dennis C. Brown, the co-writer of the original Ninja Turtles theme song for the cartoon. This was in his collection until he donated it to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation fundraiser. Since he wrote it in 1987, it was in his collection. So it came directly from the co-writer. This is what's called a lead sheet. So this is probably the first thing that was pinned for the original cartoon theme song. And what a lead sheet is, it's just the lyrics and the notes for the lyrics only. So it has the lyrics there and the notes for the lyrics only. And later, they would add the um, the notes for like the instruments and the music or whatnot. But a lead sheet has the lead vocals notated. And it solved the mystery of cool but rude, cool but crude.
Yep.
Because rude is written right there in the on this lead sheet. So this is one of the coolest pieces in my collection for sure. And I paid a decent amount for it, but I honestly believe it's worth a lot more than what I paid. I think the auction didn't have as much visibility. If this was on Hakes or something, there's no way I would have been the top bidder. There's no way.
That's crazy. And I mean, this
But
is so. You said it was Dennis Brown and Chuck Lorre that wrote this, right?
Chuck Lorre. Yep. And I think this is actually one of the first things, if not the first thing, that Chuck Lorre is credited for, which is crazy because he went on to have a crazy careers. I think mainly a producer, like shows like The Big Bang Theory and a bunch of other sitcoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's funny is in every one of his shows, there's a Ninja Turtle reference.
I did not know this.
Yeah, in every one of his shows, there's a Ninja Turtle reference. So I don't know if he was credited. I think he was credited for it, and it was one of his first credits, if not his very first credit. And I also don't think he got paid for it.
No, he did not get. Yeah, they talk about that in the Turtle Power documentary. I don't think he gets paid.
Okay. Nice. I got to rewatch that, man. That's a good one. I own it. It's been a while since I've seen it, though. That is a really, really good documentary. Much better than the Toys That Made Us episode.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well,
So
I guess Toys That Made Us has the reunion of Eastman and Laird, though, right?
it's not the real reunion, though.
No.
No, in fact, Eastman, I think, spoke up about that in a place or two. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe that it was like, I don't think he was super thrilled with the way that turned out. And I think the way they edited it and pitched it was like inaccurate. Like that wasn't they had reunited before that, I think more than one time,
Oh, that's good.
semi recently to that or whatever. So anyway, getting in the weeds there. And this is all probably hearsay. So I won't say anything else here.
No worries. We were talking about Chuck Lorre didn't get paid for the original Turtles theme.
Yeah, and so from the way I understand it, he wrote the chorus, I think, or the lyrics. So then Dennis C. Brown notated the lead vocal on this lead sheet, and then I believe Dennis C. Brown wrote the background music to support the lyrics. Excuse me.
Which is one of the most iconic sort of like chord progressions in there. It's like it's so good.
It's an
We will
iconic theme
be
song in general. It's one of the best theme songs of all time. I mean, of
yeah,
any
it's
show.
what a hook, you know, like
Yeah.
such a hook. Yeah.
In fact, the turtle reference in The Big Bang Theory is one of the actors says, "Here isn't a half shell," and all the other people in the room say, "Turtle power," and
Oh wow.
that's the turtle reference in one of the episodes of The Big Bang Theory. So,
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. I'll have to look up that clip. So that's pretty
speaking
fun.
of the theme song,
Yeah, let's see. So he's got a ukulele here. Let's see what you
yeah,
got.
I picked this up. Actually, this ties back to turtles as well. Now that I think of it, I didn't even think of it until just right now. But I was actually visiting Chris Fawcett and his wife Mel in Charlotte, and they had two ukuleles sitting on a chair. And I picked one up, and I just learned real quick because I love messing around with different instruments. I played piano, bass, guitar. Drums was the last instrument that I learned, and then I ended up getting a degree in percussion. So that's kind of what I'm a professional at, if you want to call it that. But I saw this ukulele at his house, so turtle related. You know, of course, it's always turtle hangs there at his place, and I picked it up, learned, one of the quickly learned the Somewhere Over the Rainbow, the most stereotypical ukulele song of all time, which is also wonderful. I have no
Yeah,
issues with the song.
it's
I
the
love
best version. So
it. So I just picked it up, kind of learned that, and I sent the video to a local friend of mine. He was local at the time. Now he lives abroad in like Budapest and Malaysia and all this stuff. He moved away shortly after this, but I sent him a video of that, and his stage name was the Duke of Uke. Love it. And he was like, "Oh man, that's great. Speaking of which, I got one for sale, $100 with a case. You want it?" It's like, "Heck yeah, dude, totally take it." So that was maybe 2 years ago or so. So I've been messing around with ukulele ever since. And one of the things I recently learned, speaking of this lead sheet,
that's amazing. That's so good. Like I said, it sounds like the end of the video game. Like after you beat the video game, like that's the kind of music that you'd hear from it.
yeah, totally, totally. And I love your theme song for the podcast for that too.
I'll wait till you hear the new one. So that'll be coming.
Casey
So
Jones have anything to do with the new one?
no.
Okay.
The new one, same writer, 8-Bit Alchemy, or no, not no, yeah, 8-Bit Alchemy, who does this from our other show, Retro Over Octopus. He actually did this by sampling all the Konami sounds from the original video games.
No
So
way.
he's kind of a mad scientist. So the new one's very similar to the one that you just played. So
Very cool, man. The reason I asked if Casey Jones had anything to do with it is because he was working on something to do. I feel bad for not remembering exactly what it was now, but it was something to do with like creating new turtle music as if it were from NES, the original NES.
oh, like an 8-bit sort of sound. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll have to
It's
ask him about that when we talk.
yeah. I'll have to tune in and refigure it out for myself.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. Man, it's funny too because like when we were talking about this, you're like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about and all that." It's like realistically, any one of the topics that we talked about, we could probably talk for another hour about. Whether it's
Right.
prototype toys, collections, original artwork, walkabout around the world, like, oh, what are some I mean, but alas, we don't have that sort of time. Um,
Yeah.
what we usually do is at this point, you've already led that your favorite turtle is Michelangelo, so usually we kind of like to go to that point, but we do like to talk about pizza on this show, and that's one of those things that we go to. Are you a fan of pizza?
Yes. Oh, yes. so much.
So this is where Eric would usually pipe in, and he would ask, pineapple on pizza or no pineapple on pizza? Like, where do you stand on this particular issue?
I'm for it. I'm very open-minded when it comes to pizza. Um, I wouldn't get only pineapple,
Yeah, no,
but
that's silly. Yeah,
as a supporting actor, pineapple's great. I mean, Hawaiian pizza is wonderful. You cannot have Hawaiian pizza without pineapple. That's the scenario I would find it on my pizza. I wouldn't just like randomly throw it on there, but for a Hawaiian pizza, for sure. And
yeah.
I'm weird, even though I'm a Mikey guy, and I think this is not the same for the cartoon versus the movies. But I like anchovies too.
I love anchovies. Yeah,
Sometimes I just like to get a nasty, smelly pizza, onions, anchovies, mushrooms, just a
Mhm.
real stink bug. I'm
We'll have
into it.
to we'll have to get together at Granite and get a nasty pizza.
Yeah.
No one will come near us. They have some decent pizzas there, so But I just mentioned that because hopefully you'll be at Granite State this year, where we'll be, meeting a lot of our friends and folks that have been on the show. So, you know, who are you looking forward to seeing there this year?
I have actually not met the Toon actor voices yet.
Wow, yeah,
So I'm really looking to the Turtle Celebration, which I'm pretty sure our friend Chance Mathis had something to do with putting together. It's like they kind of travel together. It's a team of
yep.
those original voice actors. I really hate that I'll miss Renee Jacobs. She's so sweet, and I've never met her in person. Um, and I know that she's not going to be there this year because I don't like know her super personally, but I did happen to be messaging with her a month or so ago and found out that she was not going to be there. So I'm disappointed with that, but I'm looking forward to meeting the cartoon guys. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the artists who I do know as well, and of course, Kevin Eastman for sure. And I'm gonna try to go to I think it's GalaxyCon. No, it's not GalaxyCon. North Carolina Comic Con in Raleigh, North Carolina, because as I said before, I'm a Carolina boy, so I want to represent my state.
And you get to probably meet there one of our favorite guests from the show, Mr. Jason Flowers. So I think he does that usually. So he's one of our all time favorite guests. So
Very, very cool. And actually, if you look at this wall
oh, you bought the
here,
print. You bought the print that I have the original artwork for, the
which one?
Mighty Meat Animals one from
Oh, nice.
Aaron.
I didn't know you had the original. Yeah. So this is all art from my cool friend group.
Nice.
It's all Rocker Turtle art. So that's what this wall is, and my piano, which I this is also the room where I practice. So
There's
I've
a
got my
lot
drums
of
there.
Aaron Hosari art there. We love Aaron.
Man, I love Aaron so much. So, but what I was going to say about, Aaron hooked me up as I was buying his prints. He would remember what turtle he did for me, and he created the whole band based on the Playmates
That's
toys. And then he started branching out. I got a singing ace duck. I got April rocking news reporter. A Willie Nelson looking Splinter, which is so much cooler than the
yeah.
way
I've
cooler
seen
than
that.
the Hippie Mondo Gecko we got. I do not like that figure. I own him out of
Yeah.
principle, but I'm not a huge fan of the Hippie
I
Mondo
have him in
Gecko.
box because I'm a Mondo guy. But yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Good to know about you too. But to circle it back in to Jason Flowers, he was my very first piece of Rocker Turtle art.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and some of my friends commissioned it for me, and that is from South Carolina Comic Con many years
Beautiful.
ago, probably 6+ years ago.
Oh, look at
Um,
Mikey playing the drums there too.
and I'm a drummer, and Mikey's my favorite. So
I
what's
get it.
funny
Yeah.
is he didn't originally have Mikey playing the drums, and the person who commissioned this as a surprise gift for me, which was awesome, said, "Nah, man, can you change it up? We gotta have Mikey playing drums because Ben's a drummer, and that's his favorite." And actually, this is my band's logo at the time. The party band I mentioned that I ran and drummed for 11 years, Sonic Spectrum. That's my band's logo on the kick drum head too. So yeah, that was my very
Did you
first
guys
piece
ever
of.
cover any of the Ninja Turtle songs?
No, we didn't.
No. Okay. All
However,
right.
to get on the nerves of my bandmates, I would play Jungle Boy as soon as we ended our show. The whole show was over. I would play Jungle Boy. I would DJ it every time. It was a running joke for about a year.
I love that. That was such an iconic. I think I had that cassette single from the Ninja Turtles 3 movie. So
Nice.
Wow, this is awesome. Like, what an impressive collection! What an impressive story! All of these sort of things. I'm looking forward to getting to meet you in person.
Same, man.
I want to thank you for joining us because this is kind of what we do. We just have conversations with cool people about what they're passionate about, and I think that is really what comes across to the listeners. Is this is exciting and it's stuff to get excited about.
For sure, man. I'm not gonna. I know we're probably run over time, but I just realized that I didn't actually do an official kind of breakdown of the Rock Room, and I think that would be sacrilege.
Well, let's do it.
So before we go, here you go. This is entering the Rock Room. There, the back wall is all coming out of their shells tour stuff, and that's I'm actually missing just the Donatello pennant. So put an APB out for that. I've been looking for that Donatello pennant for 5+ years.
I've never
It's like
seen any of those except for in the posts that you have. So,
yeah, they're tough, man. They're tough pieces. But yeah, I got the
Oh, the
one
glow
of the
sword from.
hanging cardboard pieces from Pizza Hut, a bunch of like newspaper stuff. Um, I've been out of room for a very long time, if you can't tell.
Mhm.
So I am looking forward to getting a larger space. That's one of the foam pizzas
Oh,
that they
beautiful.
threw out. Very tough piece to come across. I only know of one other person who has that in their collection. That's Michelle Ivy.
Yep. She has,
I
I
don't
think,
know.
one of everything.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe Mike Davis still has one. This pizza actually came from Mike Davis. He did it as a giveaway in one of the groups that I'm in. So yep, there's the coming out of their shells tour stuff. You saw the art wall. It's all
Beautiful.
Rocker Turtle art, all from my close friend group too. So very special wall to me. This corner here is my foreign corner, non-USA stuff. So this giant poster here, and it's a behemoth, man. That's actually from Germany.
Oh, wow.
So are these records. We've got some kooky sticker cards from
Oh, like Panini?
Italy. Italy, yep. Got the Hero Turtles, of course. Okay. Got the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. They did not make Punk or Don, so the only ones on card that say Hero are these three. So I got
Okay.
them MOC, Loose Complete. These are some of my favorite pieces right here. They're Italian pool blow-ups.
Weird.
And they have separate blow-up accessories.
Oh, like his guitar.
Yeah. Super cool. And I love this piece as well. Little inflatable vest. This is French Canadian, I believe, fabric that was turned into a quilt. I've actually got the white print and the pink
Very
print
cool.
over there as well. These cards are from Argentina,
Oh, okay.
and they put Rocker Turtles on the front of every package.
Is that
So,
just the standard, like, Series 1 or Series 2?
um, I don't exactly know, but these milk caps also come in those,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
it's ripped art from like concept art, but
Beautiful.
they're very thin. They're not as thick as Pogs, even though they look like Pogs. This has some of the coolest art I've seen. It's only on these. I've never seen that art anywhere else.
Wow, it's like a little boombox player for kids.
Yeah, and a little microphone set
A
over
karaoke
there.
machine.
This is actually the book that you put the Argentinian cards in. So that's
Okay.
Argentinian. This is Argentinian. It had nothing Rocker Turtles in it at all, but they still put Rocker Turtles on the cover. Man, Europe loves the Rocker Turtles, so that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. It's foreign. So you saw there's the foreign corner, original art, tour stuff, uh, MOCs of the regular stuff, Mutabus stuff. That's actually Kevin Eastman signed bus and all the
Beautiful.
turtles Kevin Eastman signed, including Biker Leo, which was used with the classic Rocker Leo variant. Actually, when I got that from Kevin Eastman Studios online as Classic Rocker Leo, they sent me Biker Leo. So when I met Kevin Eastman at South Carolina Comic Con, where that Jason Flowers piece was given to me, I had him sign an actual classic rocker Leo. So that's how I
Oh, cool.
got the biker Leo. They actually sent it to me as classic rocker Leo. And a buddy, I didn't even notice until a buddy of mine, Jeremiah Hart, came to visit, and he was like, that's biker Leo. And I didn't even notice. So funny story on that too. Then you got all my customs, Rocker Turtle customs. A lot were gifts. Some I purchased, some I made myself. Like I love these punker greasers here.
Oh yeah, looks like the Ramones.
Yeah. So bunch of customs there, and then that bleeds over into my prototypes and original art, and then the style guide art here, Punker Don and Classic Rock Leo. That's what you see on all the stuff like this, like the Valentine's Day cards, stickers. It's that same exact image.
Is that done by Dan Berger and Steve Levine then?
Steve Levine did the pencils, and actually I found this out recently, at least on the Punker Don, Ryan Brown pinned it.
Yep.
Yeah. So
wonderful.
You had mentioned skateboards before as well, so that's the style guide art on a skateboard.
That's cool.
Style guide art on a growth chart to read and color from the Massachusetts Society of the Prevention of Cruelty to Children.
Okay. Yeah.
So Valentine's Day cards, stickers, and that's all the stuff that you'll see the style guide art on. So I've kind of got it grouped together. So that's the rock room.
That's amazing. That is like just the whole journey on that. Like I said, that would have been enough, but it's everything else that you have too. It's like you're clearly like a top tier collector. Like,
Matt, well, when it comes to Rocker Turtle stuff, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on par with Ethan and Dave out of Canada. They're TMNT collectors, so like you guys are up there.
There's a lot of. I don't even want to like call myself that because there's so many people out there like that, or like Jeff Court with his freaking movie prop collection. He's got the largest, I think, private collection of turtle movie props. I mean, it seems like he's got them all.
I believe is he the one that was selling the pieces of Shredder's helmet?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And I got one.
Yeah.
Totally got one of those. Did you?
No. I saw John Orvik had one. So shout out to John. Yeah. Man, it's so crazy. We know so many people together. It's such a great community. So
the last piece I'll show. That's the first shot hotspot.
Holy crap. That is something.
And it's actually a little loose.
Hotspot is
a little wiggly.
You may remember is the fireman dog from the original Playmates line.
Yep, and it's complete with all first shot accessories. This thing is like softer and more latexy feeling too than the what was produced. So that's a piece I'll hang on to. Like I said, it's the only vintage Playmates prototype that I have that is not Rocker Turtles. Cool. I long since have sold my non-Rocker Turtle vintage Playmates prototypes to buy Rocker Turtle prototype.
It just makes sense when you're focused like that. Like I have, like the one big thing that I have is the Last Ronin statue. So
okay,
I'll show you that. I don't know.
Yeah, let's see it.
But like that's the one.
Nice.
So it's like that's gonna be my focal piece and all that, and other than that, just some cool artwork. But man, that's great. Like I'm super excited that you got to spend some time with us and just go through this.
Me too, man. Thanks for having me. I'm a nobody, so it's awesome to feel like a somebody.
Yeah, well, it's great. Thanks again for coming on. Everybody for listening, thank you very much. And what we will do is we'll take a short break, and I will be back with your pizza recipe of the day. Thanks again to our guest, Mr. Benjamin Baldwin. Thanks so much.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. I'm looking forward to partying with you at GraniteCon for sure.
Heck yeah. All right, guys, we'll be right back.
It's pizza time.
And now, in a segment that we call Pizza Time, where we discuss any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or pizza-related food, I give you Pizza Time.
All right, everyone. Big thank you to our guest, Benjamin Baldwin, who had an idea, and I was looking for pizza recipes, and I did find one that is a stinky pizza for him. It's not onions, but it is garlic. So let's take a look at this. This is the pizza that is garlic, mushroom, and anchovy pizza. That's our pizza time for today. So ingredients: 1 tin of good anchovies in oil, 10 to 12 cloves of fresh garlic grated into a paste, marinated mushrooms from Costco or wherever you get them from, sliced, 1/2 Vidalia or sweet onion sliced thin, and 1/2 pound shredded mozzarella cheese. Dump the anchovies in their oil into a medium bowl and grate the garlic cloves into a paste, adding to the anchovies. Add the sliced mushrooms and onions to the anchovy garlic mixture and stir. Add maybe 2 tablespoons of the mushroom marinade to the mix, and you can squeeze a lemon or lime or add a little vinegar of your choice if you're using fresh mushrooms. The idea is to really make it almost a dressing in oil or vinegar marinade for your mixture. This will be the base of the pizza and is almost a sauceless or white style pizza because there's no traditional marinara or pizza sauce used on this pizza. For the pizza dough, 3 cups, 4 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of yeast, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of salt, 1 1/3 cup lukewarm water, 2 tablespoons of olive oil. This is enough dough for 2 medium 8 to 10 inch pizzas or 1 large rectangular baking pizza. In a mixing bowl, gently mix all ingredients, either using a stand mixer or just by hand until it's all incorporated. Cover and let rest until it's doubled in size, which is usually about an hour. Punch down and knead it until it forms a smooth ball. At this point, you can let it rise and double again in size or let it rest. And then, you shape out your pizza. If you don't use all the dough, you can wrap the rest tightly in plastic wrap and refrigerate or freeze for later use. Okay, so shape your pizza dough by pressing it with your hands into a pizza pan. There may be a technique to it, but just stretch it, press it, rotate the pizza, and pressing it to the middle of the pan and then to the outer edges. No magic necessary, just make it so. It tears or gets a hole, who cares? Fix it, and then keep on trucking. Here's a tip, take a fork and poke all over the dough once you've got it on the pan. That keeps the dough from puffing up while it bakes, and it will bake evenly this way. Bake it at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. You can use coconut oil or olive oil to lightly grease a pizza pan of your choice. If your dough is well rested, it will easily stretch to fit your pan. You can pre-bake your crust for 5 to 7 minutes and spread the anchovy mixture on the bottom of the crust, being careful not to overload so any of the flavors are strong and straightforward. Sprinkle the mozzarella on top and bake for 10 to 12 minutes at 425. When you're done, take it off and let it rest, and then you can cut it. And that is your pizza. It's the stinkiest one we've done so far. Garlic, mushroom, and anchovy pizza.
Cowabunga, dudes!
Thank you for listening to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. This podcast has no affiliation with Eastman, Laird, Mirage Studios, IDW Studios, Archie Comics, or Nickelodeon Studios. This podcast is a member of the Dorkening Podcast Network. Check out thedorkening.com for other podcasts. Epic Tales from the Sewers is recorded by Justin Cooper and Eric Will.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Reductibus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite seems trying to say is that on Retro Reductibus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Your King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Reductibus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
It took me 10 years to make the perfect man cave.
And then we took it over. And we made it into the multiversal chamber.
Then I started my own podcast.
And we took that over too. And we're the co-hosts, the Multiverse Kids.
Yeah, and I'm the dad, the geeky dad. And every week, we what?
We review the movies, shows, and books, games, and toys.
Yeah, and sometimes we even have a special guest. So, join us every week on the Geeky Dad Podcast.
Hello, intrepid listeners. This is the Generation Playlist Podcast, a podcast about music where we are your guides through a particular group or artist.
We talk about the music, and then we make a customized playlist to share with you, our listeners. And you can check us out wherever you listen to podcasts and find our playlists on Spotify.